are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. Once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Anthony, how are you, my friend?
Literally chilling here, Brian. We were talking about before the show, big hockey slate tonight. Totally pumped. The Thursday night football as well, if you're feeling, a little crazy. But yeah, going to be a great night for sports. I'm really excited to preview everything. Definitely I feel like, last night, Wednesday night, not a whole lot went down. So it's nice to get back at it, huh?
Oh, yeah. Packed slate with the NHL. Excited for the football game. Excited to talk some baseball as well. Update everybody on the RSM Classic from Georgia. So let's just hit the ground running, I guess you could say, Tony, in the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. The back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei, way, Cy-Yo, nada, where did that land?
Smoke to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins it, fires, out at first.
There it goes, see ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
As Buffer checks in, hi, Brian and Tony.
Hi, Buffer and the Hobbit. So I wanted to start in baseball. There's definitely some news to catch up on, but I always like catching you off guard. So I didn't mention this to you at all before the show. But we had talked about this a while ago about how I hadn't watched the Captain. Have you seen any of the Captain?
I think I saw some of the first episode, and then that was it.
Okay. So I was over my parents' house last night, and so they were like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, I haven't seen it. I think they've seen it." They're like, "Oh, okay, put it on. We'll watch it." Wasn't expecting to watch it,
right?
And I have to say, Tony, it really hit hard. And I called this before. That's why I said I didn't want to watch it in the first place. And it was just watch. I watched the first two episodes, and it did two things for me. One, it reignited the feelings of how this past season ended. It was almost just upsetting in a way because I feel like obviously me, Matthew, we've voiced our displeasure by the way things have gone recently and the inability to step up. And I think we've almost said oh, well, it's the Astros, it's tough. And the first two episodes obviously covering the early parts of Derek Jeter's career. And the first thing was the 96 World Series. And just watching that made me just think of just how pathetic it is that we haven't been able to scrap anything together in 13 years. Just the fight, the will, the leadership in that team. You had a first-year manager in Joe Torre, and just the deficits that they faced. And this is on the heels of being up 2-0 in 95, losing those last three games to Seattle, Ken Griffey Jr. sliding in for the winning run. You come back in 96, no expectations. You win the division. And then you face a team in the Atlanta Braves, who before the Yankees had by far the best team of the previous 5 years, whatever you want to call it. And I was just thinking to myself, we think that it's such a big deal to hit the Astros pitching, and then you think about what the Braves were throwing out there. I mean, 3 Hall of Fame pitchers: Glavine, Maddox, Schmaltz.
Unbelievable.
And the fact too that the Yankees dropped the first 2 games at Yankee Stadium, had a nice win in Game 3, and then Game 4 in Atlanta, they were down 6-0 in the 5th inning and rallied to win the game. And I was just thinking to myself, if the Yankees, this version of the Yankees this past season, was in that situation, down 6-0 in game 4, they would have lost the game 15-0, and they wouldn't have won a game the rest of the series. So, and we talk about, intensity, leadership, clutch ability. And like I said, it really was just almost upsetting as to what a mess they've made of this current version of the team, that there's no battle. And literally, on the entire roster from an offensive perspective, obviously Judge was in another atmosphere this year, but, he does have some stuff to prove in the playoffs. Anthony Rizzo is like the only guy on the team that I feel like, in terms of leadership, intensity, like he almost reminds me of Tino Martinez with more power, honestly, and a better fielding first baseman. But other than that, on this current team, there is no Derek Jeter, there is no Paul O'Neill, there is no Bernie Williams, there is no Jorge Posada, there is no Mariano Rivera. So it really was just like, it was tough to take, because, and it just made me relate to this year, because it's like, we talked about this when the series was happening. We were right in it to win 3 out of the first 4 games of that series instead of losing all 4. And just that ability to battle back. And it's just like, it's been so long. And it has to change now. And, and then that like kind of propelled me to thinking about, next season and what the best way to go about next season is. And I'm just kind of curious your take on this. For me anyway, I feel like we're light. Have the mic.
Oh, the headphones, dude.
A connection, Tony.
Here we go. Yes. Yeah, baby. The circus starts. Oh my God. Where did Brian go?
Where is he?
Oh my God.
All right.
All right.
So this is my master plan. And the one thing that I'll admit, as far as trading guys away, the whole goal is just to acquire as much young talent as possible. Barring, like, I just don't think that they're open for business and we have to give up too much, but like getting somebody like Sandy Alcantara on a trade, that'd be awesome. But I think the biggest thing is, at all costs, you eliminate Aaron Hicks, Josh Donaldson, IKF. And then whether it's packaged together, packaged separately, you trade Luis Severino and Gleyber Torres and just get as much young talent, preferably pitching, really, because the pitching in the organization in the minor leagues is just a train wreck. There really isn't any. So you think about that. You think about having Volpe and Peraza up the middle. Obviously we know Rizzo's back. And then with Donaldson off the roster, DJ LeMayo, everyday third baseman. And then I think to replace Luis Severino, you sign Rodon. And then you probably bring back Benintendi. Yeah, you have Judge, you have Bader in center. And then Stanton, and then Oswaldo Cabrera, utility guy. And then Austin Wells and Trevino, kind of a platoon, probably more so on the side of Trevino for the defense, but Wells can learn from, he can learn from Trevino. And then bullpen wise, acquire maybe a couple guys, sign a couple guys, but nobody at the top end of free agency list. You don't want to spend a lot of money because Michael King coming back, I think he'll be your closer. But when I think about all of that, I feel like that gives us an ability to have that cohesiveness, have energy, have fight. And of course, getting rid of Boone would be the ultimate topper, but I know that's not going to happen. But just in your eyes, doing that, do you feel like that would bring them light years ahead of where they were in this American League Championship Series?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe about, immediately, you're bringing in young guys. Obviously I'm a big fan of that, because I think it's, I think it really benefits you down the long run. If you have, a group of young guys who come up together, are kind of put on the field together, thrown into this fire, especially, an organization like the Yankees, a market like New York, there's gonna be a lot of pressure on them to not only, succeed, but to succeed consistently, to play consistent ball here. And I think that, a lot of players rise to that occasion, especially when you have a group of young guys who are all in that situation together. It's one thing to bring up one young guy or two young guys. I mean, they're intimidated. They come up, they see Aaron Judge, they see Stanton, they see Rizzo, guys who are kind of already, almost solidified in terms of what they're bringing to the table. You bring up a group, where they all start at zero and have to work their way up together. I mean, that'll bring you that team, like back in the 90s where they're coming down from 6-0, deficits, losing 2 games at home, coming back from that. Those players you mentioned, Jeter, Posada, Rivera. I mean, they don't have those.
Paul O'Neill.
Not even position wise. Like, we don't have a great shortstop to be locked down on D, to be making the flashy plays and then walk up to the plate and hit a dinger. You don't have a catcher who's leading your team. People, I think, overlook that catching position.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to be a huge leader in the field. They don't have that right now.
Well, I mean, in the field, I think Trevino is pretty good.
Trevino's solid. I actually watched a video of him, of strikes that he stole because of his framing. I mean, that's impressive. Yeah, but you need someone who also, can lead on both sides, at the plate as well.
Well, that's why I think, though, he's a good teacher for Austin Wells. And Austin Wells had a lot of success in the minors last season. So that's why I like that angle. So I just really hope that that's the type of things that can happen. And, Hal's talking a big game, saying no budget, saying anything's on the table.
Yeah.
So, let's just see what happens. But, I'm cautiously optimistic, and I prefer says we're buffering.
Yeah.
I do see some activity.
Probably some tough internet, dude, right now. I mean, there's really not much we can do about it. Hopefully it just kind of fixes itself here.
Yeah.
Connection's unstable.
A buffer here.
A buffer there. You're fine. But, and also, I like how you mentioned Torrey, right? That was his first year managing. I mean, I think there also has to be some talk about, the system that's put in place just from the top, I mean, do you really see Aaron Boone like rallying his team at all ever?
Well,
come on.
The thing that has to happen, the players have to overcome it themselves, and they can, but they have to. And it's a shame that we can't have that, but it's like, it just seems like no way, no how. Maybe after next season, there's a potential for a change there, but it's just, unfortunately, just looking at it from a realistic standpoint, it's just not happening this year. But yeah, man, I mean, it really, like, I swear to God, like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like, I almost got choked up watching it.
Like, I bet you would, dude.
And not even nostalgic wise, but just how now is. That was the toughest part for me. It's like we got to get back to that. The talk of town, Diddy and Jay-Z were in the documentary.
Really?
just it was just a point of that. Everybody was at every game. So I hope it starts with that. And I've mentioned this to you so many times. But I really hope that we start hitting on some of our prospects, because I just feel like it's so pathetic that whether we've hung on to them or we've traded them away, nobody does anything. Nobody becomes a star. Not one person.
Yeah.
Literally. And you think about who we've developed that stuck with us, even in the last 20 years, I can think of 2 guys position-wise, Judge and Gardy. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how the player development, the scouting, how could they keep their jobs?
I know it's honestly ridiculous. I just don't understand. To your point, I mean, how could they keep their jobs? Again, that goes to the top of the food chain here. As Beffer says, Yankees missing George. How's a joke? And it's actually pretty funny because I was listening to Dave yesterday, and he was talking about how he was really tired of this narrative that people are kind of putting George on this pedestal. Like any owner, George did make mistakes, but I mean, I think where one thing George didn't really tolerate was losing. You know, it's one thing to make a mistake, but at least, you know, I feel like George would be making moves. He'd be trying at least to change it up, to try and fix something, whether or not, you know, he would hit or miss on his decisions. I feel like Hal is just like staying the course no matter what, which, I mean, dude, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. I mean, at some point, you, like Hal, is gonna have to take control here and make some moves. Get rid of Boone, move players, like you're bringing up young guys. Like you have to do something drastic because, yeah, I guess you made it to the CS. You had a great year for Judge. You had bright spots in your bullpen, but it's like, you know what? Your bullpen got injured. You did struggle with injuries. You know, Benintendi was injured in the playoffs here, but then it's like you got to do something about it. Injuries. It's like saying, oh, like what are we gonna do? Like the other team scored more than us. You know, like injuries are part of the game, just like that. Like you have to roll with the punches. You have to do something, dude. And they just really didn't do that, and it sucks. It really does suck.
Yeah. So I'm cautiously optimistic that there's going to be a decent amount of moves here. And just got to hope for the best, you know? And, you know, I mean, you know this, I know this, but then I was just thinking too, just about how much different, like I really, really enjoy watching, you know, football, hockey, you know, basketball at times. And there really just is no comparison just about the personal connection though. You know what I mean? It's just so much different. Like, and I almost, I don't know, you know, you just, cause obviously, you know, life is busy and stuff, but I feel like last night watching that, like I hadn't really, after the first, you know, maybe 2 days, really thought that much about how disappointing, you know, last year was. And yeah, it just made me think about, you know, the future and what that holds, and just gotta just hope for the best here. You know, it's such a long off season, and I don't know. I do think that how sick of the noise, and you know, Rizzo is a very good step. I think naming Judge captain, you know, we'll kind of put them a step forward. So let's see what happens. The one other thing I wanted to add too, because I hadn't, you know, had too much clarity on, because remember we had talked about how Hal wasn't planning on running the Yankees.
Right.
So I figured out like exactly what it was because I was doing some research last night. So basically, Hal's sister, you know, was married to somebody over 20 years. George in, I think, 05, you know, because his health was going downhill, said, you know, he's going to be the future successor. I guess they had a good relationship. But then in 07, right before he was about to take over, got a DUI. And
no kidding.
And then right after the divorce happened, so then that guy, you know,
completely out of the picture. Wow.
Stake in the team, and that's why Hal had to step up. So it's just amazing to think how different it would have been without that. But that is how Hal got involved. So I mean, let's go. It's go time. Miss baseball like crazy. And
that guy must feel like a douche, huh?
Oh yeah, what a blown opportunity. And then, you know, I do wish with free agency, because it's like every other sport, you know, there's so much more of an influx of moves. Really, is it because the owners, you know, have just, there's so many more owners with tighter pockets? Is that why we don't never see that with free agency? Like there's never a free agency bonanza once it starts. All the other leagues there is.
Yeah, and I think too, I feel like baseball right now is, I feel like one of those sports where I feel like these free agency contracts just get like bigger and bigger.
And then they cut out the middleman.
Yeah. So I think it's very interesting, because I feel like in other sports, it doesn't really happen as much, where you're just seeing this incredible increase in how long and how much these contracts are being for. And I think maybe that because of that, you know, owners are hesitant what to offer, because it seems like at this point, you know, there's kind of, you know, there's a glass ceiling, like where are we going to go from there? Like Verlander wants as much as Scherzer. What happens next year?
Yeah.
Like it just keeps like going up and up. So maybe that's why they're a little hesitant. I mean, at some point, I'm sure the owners are going to want to do some type of reset where like they don't have to pay this much for these players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's a big reason why you don't see that. Not to mention, I think, especially I feel like this offseason, this free agency, there's a lot of big names out there, a lot of older names. I think there's a lot of moving parts, honestly, going into, pitchers like Verlander, like DeGrom, like Bogarts, Judge, obviously, too. So I think there's a lot going on here. And also when you think about it, I mean, these names could also like make or break seasons for teams,
Right.
So, I think there's just a lot of meticulousness going down here behind the scenes, but I'm sure, sooner rather than later, as the suspense builds up here, we're going to start seeing some names drop here. Prefer comments. George would have signed Judge, Verlander, and DeGrom by now. No nonsense owner, he thinks. You think so?
I don't know. It's like, I think definitely if those guys were a little younger, but it's tough now. I don't even know really if it was up to me if I would want either one. I mean, I guess I would take DeGrom, but he's so injured and like
I know
it's a little bit of a prima donna too.
I wouldn't say prima donna, but
a little bit with the injuries and just I don't know.
It's interesting though. I was reading this article yesterday actually about how the MLB is investigating Hal and Cohen.
Yeah, I mean it's
about violating the CBA agreement for like talking about Judge.
You know what it is? It just stops
so
because
ridiculous.
It's like everybody does that. You're just trying to give baseball like I don't know, just like some image that everything's squeaky clean. It's like everybody knows that there's backdoor deals no matter what we're talking about all the time. So
and also like what is that like?
Just because they colluded because he's like, listen, we need Judge. We won't touch DeGrom. Just stay away from Judge. Oh yeah, that's fine. Like who cares?
Yeah, really.
Anybody can do whatever they want. So enough with that. They did announce the Cy Young Award winners yesterday. Alcantara for the National League, and of course Justin Verlander for the American League. Not really any surprises there. They'll name the MVPs, which for the National League, Goldschmidt is
probably favorited, right?
Yeah.
How can you not
Goldschmidt and obviously Aaron Judge. So that's really what we got for baseball here, but let's just hope the hot stove heats up sooner rather than later.
Big congrats to Alcantara too and Verlander. I mean,
39 years old.
Yeah, hell of seasons for both of them.
Yeah. It's a shame. Like I was mentioning, I would love Alcantara, but I'm just at a spot, especially because he's 27. You of course acquiring him, you would expect to give him a big contract, like to give up 4 or 5 of our top prospects. I don't know. I just feel like we've held on to him this long.
Yeah.
And
I
feel
mean,
like
you just said you want your young guys. So
want our young guys. And then also I feel like we need their bats. And it's funny because you think Yankees pitching, but really, I mean, I think the young bats are more important.
Really
yeah,
totally.
For the first time in a long time.
You gotta get I mean, I feel like you gotta go after a bullpen guy.
Yeah. Oh, but
you mentioned Rivera. You need a solid closer.
Yeah, I think Michael King can be that guy though. And let's bring back Chad Green.
Michael King,
definitely. And I think Clay Holmes as a setup guy is great.
Yeah, I like that.
I love his sinker. So let's see what happens. But for now, Tony, let's go to the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. To Evans, touchdown, Tampa Bay.
How about that throw?
Sam Darnold blasted. Oh my goodness, did he take a hit? In trouble once, brings him down. Lost one for Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down, touchdown.
All right. So week 11.
All right.
Week 11 begins tonight in Lambeau. Tennessee Titans at the Green Bay Packers. Line is set at 3. Total set at 41. Just some injury updates here. Randall Cobb will return. So Aaron Rodgers gets one of his veteran targets back. As far as being out, linebacker for the Titans anyway, Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, center Ben Jones,
Still getting choked up from last night, huh?
and cornerback Lonnie Johnson. As far as the Packers are concerned, Devondre Campbell, and Romeo Dobbs are out as well.
Wow.
So some injuries to deal with for sure. But looking at this one, Tony, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Coming in tonight, I know the Packers are favored, with Lambeau, right? But I feel like Tennessee, I mean, I feel like they're just going to give the ball to Henry, and he's just going to be running all day. I really do. I don't think the Packers are going to be able to stop him at all. Looking, on Green Bay stats here, I mean, they gave up, 29.3 yards rushing. I don't know. I feel like, again, you give it to Henry. I don't think they have the defense to stop him. I think he's been running all day. He's been running downfield, downhill, whatever you want to say. I say he has, honestly, 100 yards rushing easily tonight. And then on top of that, I think that, you set up your run game, like Brian likes to say. If you threat the run game, you set up for the pass, to play action. I think, honestly, regardless of how Rodgers plays and how their offense does, I think this is going to be kind of high scoring here. I'm trying to look at the over under for the total. 41. Yeah, I think that goes over 41. I honestly, I think Tennessee wins this one. I want to say like 28-24.
All right, so your official pick,
absolutely,
Titans +3. I will definitely take the Packers -3.
Oh, we're going heads up here. Okay, I see.
Got to do it. And my whole reasoning, I think Henry's great. 31 degrees in Lambeau, so the weather is going to be tough. I think the Packers, there's some momentum there for the first time in a long time after last week's overtime win over the Cowboys. And Ryan Tannehill at Lambeau trying to complete passes, I don't know. I think that the Packers will stack the box, bottle up Henry, and I think they will do a good job of running the ball themselves. I love A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. I think they're two of the better running back combinations in the league, or, separate as runners as well. The power, the speed, the vision. So, yeah, I think, the total will just go over here. So let's go Packers 28-14 over Tennessee, going over by 1.
Wow.
So this will kick off week 11, and we were talking before too. I mean, going to be a great sports night because we can watch this. We got a bunch of hockey on the locals, but obviously, of course, we have Rangers at Kraken circled on our calendar, and there's just no way that Halak can ruin the night tonight. There's no way he's getting the start after a long break. Would that be the most shocking daily face-off for you of all time?
I would say so, yeah. There's no reason. Kraken's a good team. You got to put your
ridiculous.
It would be ridiculous.
But we're already talking about it, Tony.
Oh, wow.
Let's go to the Worlds, the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot.
Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh, my goodness. Next to come right back. Terrifying and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliance from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
Quickest football segment ever.
I was actually going to go back for a second.
Oh, you're going to go back? You want to play the video?
No video. But I was just thinking about this too. I don't know if it's muscle memory or what, but I really just have this feeling that Green Bay is about to go on a run here. So let's see, 4-6. I mean, I'm almost just like expecting 10-7.
Really? What's the rest of the schedule like here?
Let's just take a quick look here.
So we got Packers tonight. Then they actually play the Eagles on the 27th, right?
Yep.
After that, they have Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, Lions. So I mean, let's say you're right tonight. They win tonight.
Where's the loss and who else do they just beat everybody on? You're asking me?
I mean, I could see them losing to the Bears. They definitely are going to beat the Rams.
No, I think the only loss on here is
Eagles,
Miami.
not even the Vikings.
No. Because you know what it is? Obviously, they haven't been a good team this year. But as far as, like, I just feel like at any given week they could go off and they could beat anybody just because they have Aaron Rodgers. And Christian Watson, that was a big game last week. That could be the start of something.
Yeah. I think that's tough.
What do you think they're going to go in the 7?
In the next 7, that includes tonight, right?
Yeah.
3 and 4.
Wow. No respect.
No, none. Rodgers done.
That's 7 and 10. So let's see what happens. But I think it'll be a good game tonight, nevertheless.
Yes, I do think so. Great matchup.
Al and Kirk are due for a good one.
You like Kirk?
Yeah, but maybe not as NFL.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, just
can't
bring Collinsworth back for Thursday nights with him.
Oh,
they do belong together, though. I don't know. There's just a rapport
so
there.
Ridiculous.
If Madden was still alive, I would say bring him out of retirement. But
that'd be crazy.
That was such a good combination. Oh my God, Madden and Michaels.
Madden by himself. I mean,
yeah. No, but Madden and Michaels, they bounced back and forth off of each other. I mean, it was good stuff. So yeah, hockey last night, a little bit of an oddball. But not really though. I mean, I think you went out on the leash there with the Senators. I mean, the Sabres.
The Sabres.
The Sabres are cooked.
Dude,
I mean,
7 losses in a row. They're dead to me right now.
Yeah.
Dead to me.
But it's just there's not enough there. That's the problem. Maybe if they had Eichel, but
It's such a shame because if they did, I mean, I think that's an entire different team. I mean, talk about, the couple of between Thompson and Tuck, and then if they had Eichel still too, I mean,
yeah. Unbelievable,
dude. It really would be an outstanding team there to bounce off each other like that. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, they fall to the Senators 4-1, whatever. Dead to me. I'm not picking them ever again the rest of the season. No way.
And Senators aren't going anywhere either, though. I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah. But Forsberg had a nice game in net. The Blues back from the dead potentially.
St. Louis, yeah,
5-2.
Yeah,
they've won a couple in a row now.
Yeah, I think 3. I want to say
after losing like 6 or 7 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, but are they completely back, or do you still need to see more to say? Okay, they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I need to see way more. I mean, we've seen, bright spots from Binnington here. He had a few really good saves actually last night. Some great reaches. But it's funny. I mentioned yesterday that, St. Louis said that, anyone from their team is basically up for grabs, including Tarasenko. I would imagine plenty of teams are going to go after him. And it's funny because they only said Carew and O'Reilly are the two that really are kind of going to be untouchable, and they both had a goal and assist last night. So they're going to be their main guys probably this season. But it should be interesting to see like what St. Louis even looks like. Come mid-season, second half of the season. Barbashev had a goal and assist as well.
Binnington's back.
Yeah, he had 25 saves last night. I think nothing crazy, but he came up for that 40 save game. I think a couple nights ago. So again, it should be interesting to see what St. Louis is going to do. They're a very interesting team because they won the Stanley Cup was it like 3 years ago now, probably. And then after that, I mean, it was just like they moved a couple guys, they kept their veteran guys, and I mean, they just really were not the same after that. I don't know if it was just that deep run of the playoffs that kind of killed the legs of some of their guys, and then the difference of chemistry, losing the guys they did. Of course, Binnington does look a little different the past couple of years since then, but I don't know. St. Louis is an interesting team to look at here. I think that they will have the possibility certainly to make it into playoffs. I mentioned the veteran guys they have. Those are Stanley Cup winners. They know what it takes to make deep playoff runs. And again, the lackluster past couple of seasons after winning the playoffs. I mean, I don't think you ever really saw, a worse defending Stanley Cup team in recent history than the Blues here. So again,
2019.
2019, yeah, so 3 years ago. So it should be interesting to see what their future kind of entails, but I think it's very much up in the air. It could go really either way. So.
Yeah, something to keep an eye out for sure. Is the sky falling in Edmonton? 4-1 to the Kings last night in Los Angeles.
3-1 in Edmonton.
3-1 in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually pretty funny. I think it's Trevor Moore hat trick for the Kings, had all his goals. Young dude from California, actually homegrown. I couldn't find out. I didn't see where he was drafted, but it might have been drafted by Toronto and then got traded to the Kings here. But obviously, he's a young guy. I want 4 or 5, maybe 5 seasons in the NHL. Very slow start, as we see with a lot of young guys. Last year, I think he had like 17 goals, 30 assists. He's on track to, obviously, I know it's early, but I mean, he's on track to exceed those numbers of last season. And he's been getting better every year. I think he's like 26, 27 years old. He's been in the league for a while. I think, maybe this is time that this guy Moore kind of comes into his own. He's a center too. I mean, you love to have a good center who can win you faceoffs, move the puck, move through the middle of the ice, find the back of the net. And that's exactly what he did last night. I do think, you mentioned, Peterson in between the pipes too for
he sucks.
For
I don't
LA.
care if he had a good game.
I mean, he's an old guy. He's like 38 years old, I think.
Would he be better than Halak?
No, I don't think so. I do not think so. Okay.
Why the defense mechanism for Halak though, Tony?
Well, because it's actually funny. I understand Halak is older now, but when he was on the Islanders, he gave a lot of teams a lot of trouble. Even when he's on the Islanders, I understand he was still older. But he had some big games, dude. So I feel like just that in and of itself is a reason to have him over Cal Peterson. Who's been with LA for his entire career, probably, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean I think that says something. He's been with LA his entire career. He's like 38 years old. He hasn't been a starter.
Right.
I think that says a lot for him. I mean, again, you gotta say, good game for him. He only faced 22 shots, saved 21 of them, 957 save percentage. I understand, not the highest shots attempted on him, but I mean, hey. He saved those shots that were attempted. So, I mean, that's obviously tip your hat to him. And then Edmonton here, I mean, just looking at their box score here, Draisaitl, 1 shot on goal. McDavid, a shot on goal. Like, what is that about?
Right.
Like, are you not moving the puck? I mean, looking at some team stats here, obviously, LA dominated the shots on goal with 32 to Edmonton's 23. I guess maybe Edmonton here, a little frustrated. They played a very physical game last night, but they started playing the man as opposed to playing the puck. And I mean, LA did a great job in adjusting to that, in just moving the puck. Puck is quicker than the man. That guy wants to hit me short. I'll take the hit, pass the puck along to your open man. Face-offs. I mentioned Trevor Moore in the face-off circle here. They won 61% of their face-offs. Edmonton 0 for 1 on the power play. You appreciate the discipline from LA, but I mean, Edmonton on the power play, you're a man up. I mean, Draisaitl, Hyman, McDavid on the ice, that should be a gimme, So, we talked about the lull of their offense in Edmonton, certainly missing Evander Kane still. Also, LA, 29 block shots. 29 block shots, Brian. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's like a number that's unheard of. By the way, Edmonton had 8 block shots last night.
I mean,
think about that.
It's
dude.
conceivable.
It is conceivable, and I mean, block shots too. I mean, like when you first of all, blocking a shot in hockey is suicide. Okay, we see guys more often than not getting hit in the face from blocking shots, and yet they still do it night in, night out. They just risk their body. And when your defense is blocking those shots, I mean, that just riles everybody up. That is a momentum changer right there in and of itself. 29 block shots. I can't believe that number. I really can't. So again, I mean, LA. I know you're tough on LA, but I still think they're a good team here. And to beat Edmonton, I know we've been knocking Edmonton, but this is a game they should have won. Edmonton is looking dead in the water right now, dude. Buffalo.
Yeah. I got you.
Come on, can't score against Cal Peterson.
They might need to bring in a goal scorer.
Oh my God, dude!
They might need to.
You may watch Vladimir Tarasenko. Watch out.
Never know.
You never know, dude.
That would be a whole nother element That is for sure. We got a huge slate tonight, Tony. Looking up in unconfirmed, but we are expected to see a matchup of Igor versus Martin Jones tonight. We have time for 4 picks each. I'm getting. I don't know what that was.
It's okay.
Like
dude.
a yawn.
The saliva, the coffee.
Oh man. But we know you're gonna start there. So just give us your prediction here and your first pick of the day.
I know. I know that the Kraken have been playing really well. Better than, past couple of years here since their inaugural season here. They're 8-5-3 on the season. Rangers are just 8-6-3. Obviously playing one more game than them. Rangers are here -135. They're in Seattle. Start of the West Coast trip. Definitely a lackluster season for them. I mean, you look at them, especially from the defensive aspect here. They just have a really hard time. The defense has a hard time moving the puck, controlling the puck, and that starts with Jacob Trouba. Who is their captain here. I think he's had a really lackluster start to the season. They know that, though. I think, I was watching some, post games, some interviews with them. And, none of them are exactly happy with where the team's at right now. And they're pretty pumped for this West Coast trip. So I'm certainly taking the Rangers here. I think Martin Jones has certainly had his time here in the NHL. He had some shining moments here during his career with San Jose. He's even shined this season with Seattle. But I think this is going to be one of those games where it's going to get ugly quick for him, possibly being pulled at the first intermission. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You're expecting this type of energy, long layoff.
Absolutely, dude. They're coming in hot early and often, as I like to say. I think it's going to be, spreading the wealth, as I also like to say, around the Rangers bench here. I'm looking goals from Hedl, from Lafreniere, from Fox, from Kreider, from Zibanejad. I think it's going to be 3-0 after the first period. I really do. And I think Igor's going to be locked down in between the pipes. I say Rangers win this one 7-2.
All right. I am gonna go.
We know where you're going first here.
No. I actually, you know what?
Just take. We know.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, It's insanity. I can. Vegas is literally -420. But it's Vizmelka, Tony, and I just think the Golden Knights, getting tripped up the last time out here. I could just see Vizmelka a shutout on the road in Vegas. I mean, if Vegas is -420, I mean, the Coyotes got to be +225 on the money line. Some value there. That's our value play of the day. But that's what I see. I see a Vizmelka shutout, 2-0 Coyotes. I mean, they've done this before. Clayton Keller, when you need him in a pinch. The Coyotes, scuffling a little bit here. I think 2 losses in a row. Long layoff like the Rangers. I think they're well rested. They're ready to go. As long as they didn't hit the craps table too hard last night, I think they will be just fine. But that is my first pick. Coyotes over the Knights.
Good thing you're not playing for them. All right, my next pick here. I'm going to go back to the well here. For one of my favorite picks, around the league here, in the Boston Bruins. Okay, they're going to be at home here, taking their winning streak back home. I think it's like a 5-7 game winning streak, something like that. It's actually just 4. So we know the Bruins season, how it's been going. They're 14-2 in the season. Linus Ullmark has been almost unstoppable in between the pipes for them. 11-2 in the season, 1 shutout, 196 goals against, 936 save percentage. I understand, obviously Carter Hart does do very well for the Flyers as well. 6-2-3, 242 goals against, 929 save percentage. So obviously he does face a lot of shots, having a pretty close save percentage to Ullmark, but giving up almost another goal per game. So it's pretty interesting to see this matchup here. It's always very competitive, very physical with these two teams when they meet. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how Tortorella is reacting to his team. I don't know if you saw the other night too. He showed up to a game with a black eye cut on his face.
Did he say what it was about?
He got kicked in the face by his horse.
Oh my God.
No, I'm not, can't even make that up, dude. Cannot make that up.
That is ridiculous.
It really is ridiculous. And then, of course, we all heard his little soundbite, how terrible, the Flyers were doing the other night. No forecheck, no passing. They suck, he said. I would imagine, if he says that on the air, you can only imagine what he says in the locker room here. I think Flyers are going to come into this game with their tail between their legs. I think they're going to be maybe a little hyped up, but I think Boston comes out here heavy. I think there's another game that could get ugly for Tortorella and his Flyers here. Give me the Bruins, kind of, making it 5 in a row here. They just beat Vancouver 5-2. I say, Carter Hart, better goalie. I'd say they win this game 4-0. Omar, second shutout of the season.
All right. Hate to do this to Michael, but the Devils can't win every game this season.
Dude.
Is it 10 in a row?
It's 10 in a row right now, dude. They're going to go for the record. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, no, they're going to lose tonight.
Absolutely not.
Matt Murray versus Vanacek, who I guess is day-to-day, but is supposed to start. And I just think that, like I said, law of averages, they're due to have a tough game. And I think Toronto, 9-5-3. I mean, I think a little more was probably expected, out of them to start. And I think there's just so much firepower with Marner, with Tavares, with McDavid. Not McDavid. Matthews. There you go. And so I think this actually is a lopsided one. 5-1 Maple Leafs. Vanacek pulled halfway through the second for Schmid.
Oh man, that is devastating to Michael. I hope he's watching right now.
Oh, he has to.
We got 2 comments. He goes, "Wow, bars." He says, "I can literally see him in the car." I just told, "Wow."
Oh,
come on, dude. And he says, "You will learn tonight not to doubt the Devils like the Rangers." Why does he have to throw the Rangers on the bus?
Throw
Honestly,
the Rangers
come on.
Bus. Well, listen, Rangers have to win tonight. It's not going to be a cakewalk in Seattle, but I think they will. But a little pressure, definitely.
I honestly don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for any team from the tri-state area. As I'm going to pick the next game is going to be the Islanders in Nashville. Nashville, believe it or not, minus 115 in this game. And I'm not exactly sure why. But even the backup for Islanders, Varlamov.
Yeah, he's good.
Great. I mean, he's 4-2 in the season. Of course, he does, it's up a tick below 3 goals on average, but still 920 save percentage. And I just think, we know Nashville has some offense. I just think that their defense, I don't know, man. I mean, you think about it, they give up 32.6 shots per game, it seems, on average. Penalty minutes, 195 penalty minutes. They give up a lot of power plays. And their power play percentage is 15% for Nashville here. So, they have 10 power play goals against them right now. I guess it's solid. It seems like, honestly, especially on special teams, these teams match up pretty well. Their PK percentage at 84 and 83% respectively for these teams. Of course, the Islanders having that one shorthanded goal, I believe, by Anders Lee this season. But nonetheless, I mean, I feel like Islanders, I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout here for both teams. I think Saros here, even, if they do, I would just want to make sure it is Saros here for Nashville. Go down. Saros unconfirmed here, but up there. Sorokin definitely not starting, or is it you just saying that backup tender? You're just saying that?
Oh, I was guessing why the line.
Why the line?
Yeah.
I just maybe because Nashville at home,
Saros has been playing well.
Saros has been playing well, I guess, as of late. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, Nashville is on a 2-game winning streak. One of which against Minnesota, one of which against the Rangers. Saros giving up 2 goals in those 2 games. So he's been playing well. But I just think this is going to be one of those games where both teams are popping off offensively. But I do think Islanders win this one in overtime.
Wow.
5-4 Islanders.
All right. No overtime here. And I don't know if you heard Marc-Andre Fleury on IR. Gustafsson or whatever.
Gustafsson.
Starting in Minnesota tonight
Yeah,
against Pittsburgh, coming off 2 straight losses.
Don't take Pittsburgh.
perfect time for Pittsburgh.
Oh,
100%
no,
Pittsburgh.
dude.
All the way. Tony, listen, I know they're not that Pittsburgh, but at the same time, they're not that bad either. They're going to beat inferior teams, and there's no way Gustafsson and the fellas are gonna beat the Penguins. I think this is a good offensive game for Pittsburgh as well. They scored 2 goals only last time out against Toronto, lost to Montreal. So I think this is one where Jari has a vintage Jari game. Despite the offensive players getting older, I think Jari is just as good as he's ever been. I could see him shutting out the Wild. I mean, they're not crazy scoring the puck. So I'm gonna say 4-0 Pittsburgh, pitching the shutout. And Sidney Crosby says, wait a second, Tony. 3 goals and an assist tonight.
Is that
one more?
One more? That was 3. Okay, yeah, that's right. That's 3. Brian already having 2 losses tonight. Unbelievable.
Oh, come on, Tony. You got to go outside the box.
Oh,
you can't always do the Bruins every night. I mean, come on.
No, I don't always pick the Bruins. Okay. But they've been doing pretty well for me. Okay, dude. All right, let's see. I picked I picked Rangers, I picked Bruins, I picked Islanders.
Right.
Yeah, let's get out of the Northeast here.
I know you're gonna think.
Who do you think?
Detroit.
Ooh.
Was it Detroit?
No.
I'm really changing it up.
No, I swear to God, I think I'm gonna go Canadiens here tonight.
Okay.
We are out of the Northeast here. We're going more north, not as much east though. Canadiens. I think Columbus, absolute shit show with Gaudreau. I think that it's been really nothing like they expected to have Gaudreau over there in Columbus. He only has 13 points in the season, 6 goals, 7 assists. I know it's not terrible, but for him coming off that season in Calgary, what are you doing, bud? And on top of that, you have players like Suzuki, 19 points in the season for Montreal, 10 goals, 9 assists, playing kind of both the scorer and the setup man here. They have a couple other young bucks, and then they have a great young buck center, Kirby Dach. Again, I talk about how important being a center is. Big boy here, 6'4", 197 of a center. He absolutely bodies people in the face-off circle, just pushes the puck back to his guys. That's a great time to possess the puck for Canada, eh? And I know, I believe Montembeault is their starter, their backup goaltender for Canada. Better than Allen so far this season. I understand, obviously, not as many games. Allen being 5-6 in the season. Montembeault here, 3-1-1, 238 goals against, 930 save percentage. Numbers better than Allen. I understand, your pool of games here is less, but I do think Montreal here. I think they're gonna pitch quite the game here. I say Montreal. I'd say 4-1.
All right. For my last pick here, gonna go with Florida. A little bit of an uneven start at times, but kind of I think they've righted the ship. And against the Stars, I don't think they're gonna be that great this season. So I just like the depth of this Florida team, and I think they're figuring out how to play, without Huberdeau. And I just think Bobrovsky versus Oettinger. I like their advantage there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Chachuk with 2 goals and an assist. Let's call it 4-2 Panthers over the Stars. What a night of hockey lies ahead for us.
Dude, you're gonna go 1-3, I think.
Which one do you think was my worst selection, if you had to say?
I think it was taking the Penguins. Honestly, I really do. You took the Penguins, you took the Coyotes, took the Panthers. Oh, you took the Maple Leafs too. Ooh. Honestly, yeah, I think taking the Penguins.
I don't backup tender, Minnesota. I don't get it.
I still think though their backup tender isn't horrible in Gustafsson.
Would you take him over Halak?
Maybe I would.
I think you're just saying that.
Yeah, honestly, I would have to look at some numbers here. But I just think ooh, dude, I don't know. I just feel like Pittsburgh here, although, we understand veteran team, they're going to lose all the time. Their offense has been absolutely dead in the water. And you see Minnesota having some good offensive games here. So I think even, Pittsburgh's defense has been kind of shoddy. Jari doesn't look that great.
I think
they're in Minnesota. They're in Minnesota too. I don't know, man.
I feel you're just earning for a Pittsburgh collapse. That's the thing.
You're earning?
Yeah.
I mean, I normally am. Pittsburgh. I definitely maybe a little biased against them, but I just think it's nice to see them lose, and I think they're going to continue to lose.
Okay.
Dude. What do you think my worst pick was?
Your worst pick? I mean, why are you taking the Canadiens? I mean, I think you just wanted to say
St.
Canadiens.
Canadiens.
I know, but if St. Louis was with the Rangers,
but come on, Columbus is trash. Columbus is so bad right now.
They just won though against the Flyers.
Flyers are trash right now. They're a little forecheck, no passing. Terrell's getting kicked in the face over there.
I don't know. What do you think about the Coyotes? You think they have a shot or no?
I don't know, man.
Vegas just slipped up.
It would have to be literally. It would have to be classic overlook. Yeah, and Vejmelka on fire, dude.
But he really changes the whole complexion of that team.
It's honestly ridiculous. It really is.
Because I just feel like it's like with Ingram and net,
mm-hmm.
they're the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
But then with Vejmelka, they can kind of beat anybody.
And also, Coyotes on the road. I feel like they live to be on the road now because their home stadium sucks, dude.
Right.
They love being on the road.
Right. And then coming off 2 straight losses. But the Knights also have lost 2 in a row to St. Louis and San Jose. At home. At home, Tony.
Yeah, that is kind of tough.
So maybe 3 in a row at home.
I know. I mean, you got to watch out for Eichel. That's all you got to do.
What did you think about my prediction of the Devils going down tonight? I know Michael loved it.
Honestly, I think that's going to be a really tough matchup for both sides there. And I think it's possible. I mean, Toronto, I've been kind of hyping them up all season with Bunting and Mitch Marner. Not even with Tavares. I mean, Tavares has been scoring so far this season. I think it's going to be really tough. I am worried about who's in net for them. Murray?
Yeah.
Matt Murray.
I think it's only his second start of the year.
Yeah, a little worried about that. I can see the Devils. So I think, honestly, it's going to be high scoring. I think if Vanacek, honestly, I know I tried to look up. I mean, nothing really says much about him being on the IL or day-to-day or anything.
Not IL, but
or day-to-day or anything.
The way daily face-off is, Vanacek's not starting.
Dude, if he doesn't start, it's gonna be the Maple Leafs for sure.
Yeah.
Vanacek's been really playing up for the Devils here. So but if even if Vanacek starts, I think it's gonna be a shootout for both teams. I really do. They both have the ability to score.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who comes out on top. Maybe we'll see a game in overtime, dude.
That would be nice. That'd be nice.
I know. They're in Toronto, right?
Yeah. Dude, there's got to be a hockey red zone.
There is. A night it's kind of whack. Center ice. It's called NHL Center Ice.
But I thought NHL Center Ice, didn't that used to be the MLB extra innings package Center Ice?
Oh, I never had extra innings. What's extra innings? Is it
like MLB TV?
No, like MLB Network, you mean?
No, MLB TV, every game. Well,
I guess, but I mean, isn't that kind of like Red Zone?
No, but I'm just saying where they just keep flipping out in and out of coverage, or
kind of like Red Zone.
Okay, no. Well, I did say Red Zone from the start.
So kind of like Red Zone, yeah. Center
but
Ice.
I'm saying Center Ice, but is Center Ice on NHL Network?
No. It's his own channel. You got to pay for it. Yeah, you got to pay for it. And it's like a night like this, they'll be doing quad boxes and shit.
But NHL Network probably has cut-ins and stuff. Or do they probably have a game though tonight?
NHL, I'm sure with all the games they probably do. But even so, NHL tonight, they have some look-ins for the games, but it's not like NHL Center Ice is we're coming at you with every game tonight. Yes, let's go.
Just want to see. I guess no NHL Network tonight. All just local, ESPN Plus. All right. One other thing, Tony. RSM Classic underway. And I guess there's 2 courses over there. So they do this at, Torrey Pines, South and North. But right now, Sean O'Hare, 4 under par, leading the way very early on. He's only through 8 holes. I don't even know if our guys have even teed off yet. I don't even see their names. So it's... I don't think they've teed off yet. So long way to go in this one, but we'll give you another leaderboard update tomorrow. But I'm just pumped up for tonight. It's Thursday, but it kind of feels like Friday, with the games. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I like that. Yeah, no, you're totally right, dude. Nice day. Just right after here, let's go to some brunch, get some Bloody Marys action going on. Peel off, go to the bar, play some pool at the Horseshoe, grab some Southport, go home with some beers.
What, are you gonna pass out by 6?
No, dude, come on, dude. Horseshoe, you're up playing pool the whole time.
I know,
dude.
but you know what the problem is? You do that, and then you go home.
I know, then you're just like, oh, dude, fuck. You just like fall asleep with the beer in your hand. Why don't you?
Yeah. And then I always look forward to Friday, though. There's nothing like the frenzy.
Oh,
I can hear the music from here.
I know.
We gotta get that queued up.
I know. You gotta let me. Which music do you want? The ESPN? You want the Chris Berman?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
No. But that'll be great. And what a great day today was. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. Archives on the YouTube page. Tony, Renee, and Michael in costume.
Sayonara.
Merch, downtimetv.com. Everybody enjoy the day. Enjoy the games. And we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do.